Alright guys, so today we got an iPhone 11 Pro and the screen is just cracked. You can tell up here it's cracked pretty good. Everything else works. It's just cracked up here. So we're going to go ahead and replace the screen. The first thing you always want to do when using or when fixing any kind of device is you want to power it off. I'll lay that to the side. I'll go over the few tools I'm going to use. This first screwdriver is called your, this is your Penelope screwdriver. It's going to be used to remove your bottom two screws. You're also going to need a Y screwdriver, or it's also called a tri-wing screwdriver. And then you're going to need just a regular Phillips screwdriver as well. This one's a pretty small one. It's a 25 millimeter, but a small Phillips will work. And then you're going to need something to pry it with. And then this is our replacement screen. I'll leave a link in the description so that you can get these tools if you want it. But this is what we're going to want. We're going to want to take everything off where all that's left is just this screen. We're going to start off down here with these two screws. These are Penelope screws. So you'll take your Penelope screwdriver and you're just going to remove these two screws. These screws are all the same on pretty much all iPhones, even from the very first ones from the iPhone 4. But there's two down here at the bottom. And then once you do that, there's going to be no more screws. But if you'll just look at your screen, you can tell there's some cables right here. So there's going to be some cables up in here. So just be careful when you're going around this screen that you're a little bit mindful when you're up here. So I always like to start at the bottom. But there we go. You get underneath it and you're just going to kind of start to pry a little bit all the way around the phone. Like I said, this one's on here pretty good. Same thing on this side, we'll go this way. You're just taking your pry tool and fitting it in there, and then as you go along just kind of pry up a little bit. Remember just to be kind of careful on this side right here that you don't go in too deep. Then once you do that, you can kind of wiggle it a little bit to get it away from the top, and then you can pry this and it'll open just like a book from left to right. Once you open that, we're going to start working on this section down here. We'll do this one first. It looks like these are Y screwdrivers or tri-wing. So you're going to remove these two. And it's pretty important to have, especially messing with these little bitty tools, little screws, I mean, a magnetized screwdriver. So alright, we got that one off. Now we're going to remove this plate up here, and this one is also your Y screwdriver or tri-wing, however you want to call it. I usually just call it a Y screwdriver because that's exactly what it looks like if you look at it straight on. Like I said, especially with these little screws, it's important you can have a magnetized screwdriver, because there's other magnets in this phone. When you take these little screws out, sometimes they want to gravitate to those magnets. There's one right there that I let loose. And I might have to zoom in. Let me see if I can get it. But over here, like when I'm laying these screws down, I'm laying this shield down, but I'm laying like this screw goes to that one, this one 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 up there, and so forth. So it's in a pattern, so I know exactly when I put it back, exactly how it goes back. So when you're unhooking these, the first thing you always want to do is unhook the battery. This one right here. Though I'm not seeing really anything else. So up here, that's gonna take up your camera right there, your proximity sensor. We're gonna take off the LCD. We're gonna take off this digitizer, and that's it. So this screen is done. So now we're gonna take our Y screwdriver again, and we're going to remove these 3 screws. And just remember, as you take them out, make sure you lay them so that when you put them back, it's super easy and simple. Okay, so this is a pretty important part up here with a lot of little pieces. You want to make sure you don't mess this up. So there is something I did not mention that we are going to need, and that is going to be some tweezers. Let me grab some real quick. On these, this guy right here is your main part right here. If you can get him out, everything else kind of comes out pretty easy, but it's this top little, not really a speaker, more like a microphone. If you can pull that out, alright, what else we got? We got this. Let me see if I can get underneath here. Pull up this. You just basically want to make sure when you're pulling this up, it all comes up as a unit. You don't want to accidentally pull or tear any of these cables because they're all fragile. But you just want to get this to look exactly like the screen that we got. And all you want to do is put this one has a little bit of glue, it looks like. Does it have glue or does it have tape? Maybe not. Okay. But anyways, you're going to want to lay this back down basically the exact same way it was when you took it off. So I'm just pushing everything back down in its little hole. Everything looks like it's going down pretty decent. So we can lay that down. We can go get our screws that we laid out precisely so we know what screw goes where. Because some of these screws are longer than other screws and you don't want to get long screw damage, or that's the main thing really, is long screw damage. Because if you put a smaller screw in one of these, it's not going to go in far enough. Some of them might grip just barely. But if you put a long screw in one of these where it's supposed to be a short screw, it can go all the way through to the screen. And when it goes through the screen, you pretty much just ruined it. So be very careful when you lay out your screws. And when you tighten them, you don't want to tighten them too tight. You just want to basically tighten it where you can feel some resistance. And that is really it. Now all you're really going to do is put this phone back together. So we're going to connect these back down to where they came from. is there. This one. And the way to kind of help tell like what goes what is one is smaller than the other on these top two, because they can be a little bit deceiving, but I mean the others there's not really an option because of the way the cables are laid out, that certain cables have to go certain spots, but those top two are pretty close to the same spot, but one of them is larger. One of them is larger than the other one. So basically got all of them down except for this last little one right here. It's giving me a little trouble, so let me just look at it from a different angle. Like I said, I believe this is the battery connection. And this should not give you this much trouble. This is a connection that should go back pretty dadgum easy. There we go. I'm not sure why it was giving me trouble, but okay, so what we're gonna do right now before we screw anything back is we're just gonna see, we're gonna power the phone back on, and then we're gonna mess with some of the buttons and just kind of make sure that everything works, because this is not my phone, this is somebody else's phone, and I really don't want to get in their phone and mess with stuff. I don't care to see their pictures. I don't want anybody to think that I'm getting in their phone, reading their messages or anything like that. So I usually just turn it on and I will click on emergency, and we'll basically press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we'll go in order, and we just want to make sure that the buttons do press when you go in order. So we'll scroll up on the screen. Whoops. Okay, she does not have a lock. So let's go to phone, and we're just going to go to the keyboard. And we just wanted to make sure all of those work, and they do. So we're good there. Kind of play with the screen for a minute. Everything looks like it's okay. So like I said, this is not my phone, so we are going to turn it off. I did not mean to screenshot that. We're going to turn it off just like that. Now, and another check to do is once you do put all this, you can make a phone call, because you are messing with this microphone up here at the top. You can make a phone call and just make sure that they can hear the person they're calling, and the person they're calling can hear them. I've had it before where we didn't lay the and it was our fault, we didn't lay the screw down, or we put the screw in right, it wasn't making the connection that it should, so we had to open the phone back up and basically unscrew it and screw it right back down. So it does happen. If it happens and somebody can't hear something like that, more than likely a cable was just disconnected, or something is not touching correctly.
896.
Yep. You gotta create one again. You gotta sign up again.
Now I got it. Yep. Code,
and just put that code in, and
it says you can use like a strong password. Should I just use this random password?
Well, it's gonna do your FaceTime or whatever. You have a Face ID on there?
I don't think so. It just says you have to use a strong password.
What did I come back to? Bruh, it's 2-1? Okay.
Date of birth, we're gonna use mine, okay?
This is crazy.
Okay.
This is a crazy game that we've come back to right here. Holy Moses. Wow. What's up? How are you? Hello. Can I play with you? Yes, you know, we are doing some show matches today here. You know, having a good time along the way. Smokey the Bear, actually, he's going to take a 2-goal advantage right now. Oh, he's punching it. It's going to be just enough to tap here to give it up over. Good old Robert Stroker, a.k.a. Big Stroker. 3:10 left. 3-1 the score. Now here comes Smokey the Bear. Oh, he's going to go